Hi, everyone, and welcome to Millennial Asian Realtor. This is going to be the first episode. So, ideally, I want to focus on who I am and how I got into real estate. Hopefully, you guys enjoy the episode. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Okay, I'm hella excited here. So, this is going to be a first episode and first time ever for us. I'm going to be, the first one to tell you I am unsure of where this is going. Ideally, this podcast is not going to be the only direction that we take here. Um, Growing up in, I guess, the 2010s and the birth of the internet and the birth of the information era, I came to realize that there isn't a traditional route that anyone could take anymore. There aren't any books to tell you, like, this is how you be successful. And if you work hard, you'll get there. So, growing up in the 2010s and getting those lessons, again and again and again, whether it was my career, hitting a certain stride, and then realizing that I'll have to compromise some sort of ethical value, some sort of moral value to move up. I had a really tough decision to make. And unfortunately, because of my upbringing and I guess my hard headedness, I always tended to choose the independent route, the route to not be held down and be bound by the corporate overlords. Whether it's good or not, I'm not quite sure yet. I am 30 years old this year, and I'm really excited to make sure that I've utilized, my time in my 20s wisely, and I'm going to come into my 30s well prepared and well trained. That being said, I for sure know that in 2020, anyone who wants to create a successful business cannot rely and utilize only one platform. So I decided for Millennial Asian Realtor to kind of be the forefront of that, a little bit more involved and a little bit more conscious of how people are consuming content. So I'd love to be able to take this episode to kind of break down the process and format of what we're going to be doing with this blog. Ideally, every week I will be touring and showing new properties all around San Francisco and the Bay Area. If you followed my Instagram stories in the past, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I usually do a quick tour, video-wise, get an understanding of what the property has to offer, and then I give a little bit of insight on what I see physically and what I'm gaming as far as the value of the future of that property. So if you do enjoy that sort of content, I'm going to continue to do that, but in a little bit more of an accelerated rate. That being said, not everyone's on Instagram, right? Not everyone's checking stories all the time. So I wanted to make sure that I'm covering my bases and then having the ability to create evergreen content that people can revisit months, years from now and still, kind of draw value from it. So that being said, I am doing a 3-chapter attack for all of my content. The first wave will be in blog form. So ideally, I'll be taking photos and writing a little bit more on the overall story. If I see that there is a property that is completely undervalued, maybe a neighborhood that is really exciting and no one's really paying attention, or oversaturated markets or neighborhoods that you probably should be watching out for example. So in the article, I'll go micro details wise, give a little bit of an opinion piece, but essentially state objective statements and facts. With the podcast itself, I'm going to be able to take a little bit more of a personal tone. I'll be able to talk to you about relationship building, getting an understanding of how to handle clients, how to handle sellers, buyers, especially if you're going to be a buyer yourself. How do you handle sellers? How do you stand out in a field of, 20 offers, 15 offers, which is very typical in the Bay Area? And then finally, of course, my Instagram. My Instagram will definitely be the most consistently updated. So please follow me on Han and Homes on Instagram there. So at Han and Homes with an S. I'll definitely be doing a lot of stories and hopefully be able to create a consistent flow of content for you guys. But yeah, that being said, I want to dive a little deeper here. I promise to keep all of the podcasts under 10 minutes. So they're going to be really quick. Essentially, they're just, created for a deeper inside view of what's going on in my day to day. But that being said, this is the first episode. So my main focus is to kind of share who I am and what sort of background I'm coming from, why you should even trust what I'm trying to say here. So, uh, a little bit of a formal introduction. Hi, my name is Han. I am 30 years old. I've been living in San Francisco for 10 years now. I'm originally from Orange County. My career, or my professional career, started in the apparel industry. I spent my first 7 years as an adult working as a quality assurance executive. That job led me to multiple other different positions. But long story short, I did climb quite a bit in my 7 years up. I won't mention any organizations, but yeah, I had a fantastic time. I traveled, almost every country in Western Europe. I've been to most of Southeast Asia, India, of course, China. I don't think I've ever gone to Mongolia, so that's probably going to be my next visit there. But yeah, ideally, I was blessed to be able to communicate, interact with a lot of worldly people. So it was a fantastic career, but at the end of the day, like I said in the beginning, I had to give up a little bit of my morals and my ethical values to continue to move up. And at a certain point of my career in the apparel industry, I couldn't do it anymore. Hopefully I'll be able to break down a little bit more on why I left there. But you know, all you have to know is I kept my morals and I kept my ethical values intact. And honestly, that decision led me to where I am today and who I am today. So, after the 7 years in the apparel industry, I was a little lost. I did a 6 month trip, in Vietnam, and I did a lot of thinking. Um, I was sure of myself that I did the right thing, but come on, who can be really sure when they are leaving a six-figure salary and a really cushy job? So, you know, that was the first half of my professional adult career. My second half has been in marketing and marketing agencies. So I spent a lot of time, working with teams, building out huge campaigns for multinational corporations. And ideally, when I jumped into marketing, I wanted to make sure that I was still with the people. I took the job because I wanted to understand the audience and cater to them, and all the fluffy goodness of youthful careers, right? And unfortunately, several years later, I realized that, gosh, I pour my heart and soul into a pitch. We work on a campaign for 3 months, and the client would just essentially reject us and say that I don't get it, or this doesn't make us money, or they want that easy corporate package. So it kind of broke my heart. And after several years of doing that, I couldn't do it anymore. And I still remember sitting in one of the agencies, and I decided to see what was going on as far as other options. I began to feel like I was entangled and within the holds of the corporate life. So I believe, I'm not quite sure when it was exactly, but I ordered the courses online for my real estate license in California. And I remember staring at the set of books for weeks, not wanting to touch it. And it only took me, oh gosh, ideally, it was more or less a soul crushing experience at work to finally pick up those textbooks and get going. And I mean, I can't emphasize enough. People say that, like, you must change, or you got to change, or you're going to stay still. In my opinion, and really smart people have told me this too, staying still and staying stagnant is a choice. So if I were to stay in that job or stay in my careers, my corporate professional careers, that would be a choice for me. And so I decided to choose to take the leap and jump into unknown waters. And fast forward about 4 years, ups and downs, learning curves, setbacks. I am where I am today. Ideally, I am working mostly with international investors from Singapore, Japan, Australia, and many other Asian countries to kind of get an understanding of the real estate market. And I've sold quite a bit for them, and now we are in the acquisition mode for 2020. So I'm really excited to share those stories. It's going to be really exciting to see what international folks and international money view, America as a whole, and if they're investing in us overall. So yeah, wow, it's already been 10 minutes. Thank you so much for listening in. This was a rambly introduction to who I am. I promise that the content will get better. Just give me a chance. If you do want to give me any sort of feedback and maybe give me some insights on what you want to hear about as far as my career in real estate, shoot me a text, call me, or shoot me an email. I mean, my information's public, so feel free to reach out. I am an active agent here, so if you are looking to buy a home or even sell your home in the San Francisco Bay Area, let me know. The most that I can do is do the job, and the least that I can do is give you some solid advice and some solid opinions on the situation. Okay, well, thank you so much for listening in, and hopefully, this will be a weekly, consistent a schedule. But yeah, don't quote me on that. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.